Better leave it to the professionals.
Last by Bundy, blah, blah, blah.
Started off with a bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, he'll set it up.
Surfing on the web and I'm shooting at 3. I've been golden when I got my G. I'm an alien boy from a different planet, yeah. So I got my drink, I'm riding in the 1920s Model T Ford. Call her Era Lord. Call me Levi, playing on the keys, boy. And I'm about to put my gloves on. If I said it, then I meant that. Yeah, I like that one, I'm about to get that. Crash that whip for the drumsticks, whiplash. I'm about to get them all. Are you with that? In a white boat, surrounded by blue. I want one, but I got a cop too. I wanna fly high in the sky, arms out wide, trying to soar from a bird's eye view. I'm on fire, Ricky, Bobby, cracking the pavement, Whitney, Bobby. I'm a Saki bomb, Hiroshima, Nagasaki. Bruce Wayne been a dog, and I keep it 101, cause I'm feeling kinda spotty. You sipping on some rock, and I'm sipping on octane. The only thing around my neck is the
Started off with a
blockchain.
bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, he'll set it up.
NFT, Twitter, blockchain. Seeing with the ghosts and we ballin' like LeBron James. Crypto. We can make a trade, get the memo. Refuse not falling for the FOMO. Listening to Coffee with Captain. You know we worldwide, they loco. I ain't never gonna stop rapping. Orlando, yeah, we working magic. We rocking Ethereum entities. I just went and caught me a half base. Man, I got a shout out
Started
to
off with a bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, he'll set it up.
Breaking the mood to choose one, but they got knowledge to move, son. I'm shocking in shades with my brother in shoes. Yeah, them blues is coming. Even though it's hard to pick, eeny, mighty, mo, soda on the mix, no biting lips, it's time to go. Index number 1, no thumbs up, you gotta scroll. Looking at the ghost in studio, it's time to go. Had a helmet on by myself until I met a mask that wanted to have a face off. So I had to bring my chainsaw, full tank of gas in the ride with my brakes off. I'm A1, but a different kind of steak sauce.
GM, welcome to Coffee with Captain. I'm Cap. Joined by my co-host Outer Lumen, back from her travels today. Excited to get into it. We got a busy day, kind of a lot happening in the world at large, a little bit happening in crypto, and I'm curious if anyone, as we warm things up here, I'm curious if anyone is getting a refund or repayment from FTX today. Got 2.2 billion in repayments going on. I think this is the third or fourth tranche of 5 total. I think their last one goes out May 29th, but we'll get into that and more here in a little bit. Again, I'm Cap, joined by Outer Lumen today. Thanks so much for joining us. Welcome to Coffee with Captain. If you haven't already done so, give us some love on the space up top. You'll also find up there not just the X audio space, but as well as the X video feed, the abstract feed, and the YouTube stream. YouTube subs are the best Coffee with Captain members. Great, no, I kid, but we greatly appreciate all of you. Outer, I'm going to attempt to kick you the co-host. We'll see if this is working. There is an X update today, so I saw Mel, who was first in the chat, it was maybe a tie between her and Mr. Campbell out there. But if you are also missing the, Mel said she wasn't seeing the chat bubble, that little purple pill in the bottom right. If you're not seeing that, or you're having any issues with X, maybe drop out or go check the App Store and see if you have a update for X. I don't know why it started doing this. Usually it used to just automatically update any new for all apps, including X. And now when I go into the App Store, even if I search for X and see X, it just says open. It doesn't show there's an update until I actually click X. Like if you wanted to read more about it, and after you click through, then it shows update here or update now. So a little bit of just one extra hoop to jump through, one extra button to click. But I think that, I mean, I don't know, Mel, go tell me if you do the update, do you then see the chat bubble? Does that fix it, or is it off for you even after the update? But that would be my suggestion: is go do the update. Hopefully we not only will bring chat back, hopefully no audio issues today here on Spaces. I have no idea what the updates are, although I think we're getting pretty close to X Money. We talked about it, I think it was in the war room a little bit. They are they've recruited their newest hire, their newest employee, at least the one they spoke of publicly, was one who helped build the wallet for Aave and Coinbase. And so my speculation is that not only are we getting X Money, and you've seen like the metal credit cards, debit cards floating around in the wild, I think they're going to launch a crypto wallet at some point in the near future. That's not part of today's update. I really have no idea what was in the update, but Mel says she did the update, not fixed. Even after, well, I think the update forces you to close the app, but try doing the force close, rejoining us. Outer, do you see the chat bubble? GM.
GM. Let's see. I don't see the chat bubble. Well, no, I see a plus, but then it's kind of like retweeting the space. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so weird. I don't know why. And you said you updated this morning, right? So we're both.
I mean, I must have done something right. I'm actually a co-host this time.
Hey,
so I don't know.
That was the update. That was the update for X. Is now a co-host can actually accept a co-host invite.
But I think I saw Maria like respond and leave a comment in the chat because she tagged us. So is it working for Maria? Maybe it's because she didn't update. I don't know.
So Marissa's seeing the show. I see Andrew drop the update about Google and being able to break Bitcoin with quantum. I'm glad we got Big Brain Outer joining us today, so we can talk through some of quantum computing and is Bitcoin safe. I guess those of you like Dort, I see you in the chat. Briss out there, Teacher Katie, do you have the chat bubble from the audio spaces, or did you have to click through my profile to see it? Because now if Outer's not even seeing it, I'm wondering if it's something on my end, even though I did update. Proof Alpha DJ, do you see the chat bubble out there?
Jim, that's the reason why I wanted to jump up. But no, it's sometimes X will give you a plus, and then sometimes they'll give you the chat bubble. And I don't know what the rhythm is or the algorithm that chooses it, but sometimes that's what happens. And when they give you the plus, you just got to pin it up top, and then everybody can go up top and they can repost it from there.
Yeah. So thanks for that. You will see the audio spaces. It is pinned up top all the way to the right. So not only can you like repost it or comment, that's also if you want to join the chat. I mean, it's a community show, so the stage is always open. If you'd like to join us up here on stage, just throw in a request. We'll get you up here and do our best to get everyone up. But it doesn't look like any. So weirdly enough, Mayhem sees the chat bubble but can't click it. No chat bubble for Hizzy. It's so weird. It usually does this around an update, like shortly after an update. And I thought we had solved it when if we're on different versions of X, that's when the chat bubble doesn't appear. But yeah, Dr. Jimothy says, I can see the chat bubble just updated. Crypto Pain hates X. This is our daily reminder. If you've not yet joined us over on YouTube, someday I fear that X is just not going to, X will work, but someday I fear Spaces is not going to work, and we may be forced to go all in on YouTube. So front run that and go over to YouTube. It's pinned up. I think it's pinned up top. Go over to YouTube. Yes, hit the like and subscribe over there, and don't miss a show. No chat bubble for Dort. So weird. I'm not even going to pretend to. Yeah, Diablito said Modern Market was the same with just the plus button. So who knows? Hopefully we're back to normal tomorrow. But like I said, the workaround is just if you head up top, scroll all the way to the right in the Jumbotron, you'll see the spaces, and you can essentially access the chat via there. I know it's a few extra steps, but no idea why, nor any ability to fix it. So we will we'll carry on. We'll carry on
Look, if
without.
we're not troubleshooting something in our cold open every time I'm here, then it's not really a space, is it?
Right. Yeah. And these are, I guess, the best kind of troubleshooting. Well, not the best, but best or worst, depending on how you're looking at it, are ones where I know I didn't break it. It's outside of our control. Not only did am I not responsible for this one, I also have no ability to fix it. So we will power through. All that being said, we are still a little bit of cold open outer. GM, I don't want to put you on the spot. I don't want to pry too much into your personal life, but we have not connected since your trip. Anything you'd like to share? I hope you had a good travel, safe travels, all that. Anything you feel the audience might enjoy hearing about your travels, that if you're interested or willing to share?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. My son and my partner Divide went to a Europe trip because since we got our giant dog, we haven't had the ability to actually travel as a family since like 2019. So we were able to get some dog sitters to come to our house and take care of the animals while we went. And that was really, really nice.
Nice.
We went to visit my mom's, like, because my mom passed away this summer, and my dad passed away when I was little. And so this woman who lives in Stuttgart in Germany was my mom and my dad's friend. Like, she witnessed their wedding, kind of thing. So it was really awesome to hang out with her. And if you don't know, Stuttgart is the city of German cars. Mercedes Museum is there, Porsche Museum is there, the Mercedes plant is there. So a highlight was getting a tour of the entire Mercedes plant, including how like their assembly line works. And yeah, it was like, I'm not a Mercedes person, I have a Volvo, but it was still like, I am a car person. So absolutely fascinating to go on that tour. They have like a little 5 kilometer racetrack, testing track there as well. They have a bigger track closer to Constance. It was like 60 kilometer track, but it was we learned that Stuttgart is very like innovative, and their mechanical engineering program at the university is pretty huge. Like, it's a big like innovation kind of hub. And then from there, we ended up dipping our toes into a city in France and getting really good cheese. And then we also hung out in a little town in Austria for a day, all that to then end up in Zurich for the next 5 days in Switzerland, which when you convert like Canadian dollars to francs, it's like almost 2x. So that was pretty wild, where everything was crazy. But a personal highlight and a bucket list item for me for a long time was to go to Carl Jung's house.
Oh, wow.
He's a really famous psychologist.
Mhm.
If you know, you know. And I like have his red book. I've loved like so many of his theories. And I think I'm deeply ingrained in psychology as someone who thinks a lot about user experience anyways, right? And to me, to like stand in his house, which is about 25 minutes outside of Zurich, was just the coolest thing. Because yeah, ever since I was like a teenager, I learned about Carl Jung and Freud and all that stuff. And it was really cool, like full circle moment to be there. And they left his desk untouched, like right after he passed away. So there was like, it was really fascinating.
That's pretty cool.
So those two are highlight. I mean, we the boys skied in the Alps.
Oh, wow.
I got up there, and this is my like 6th time skiing ever in my entire life, because I only started learning like last year. And they think that I have the hero award for that day, because I went up the gondola, I went up the ski lift, I was on top of the Alps, and with my ski poles and my beginner skis and my ski boots, I proceeded to take 3 hours to hike down the entire hill while they snowboarded. Well, my son was skiing. He's also a beginner, but much braver than I am. And I'm a rock climber and an ice climber. So slow going up the mountain, absolutely yes. Plummeting down it super fast, not a thing for me yet. But it was amazing because I love hiking anyways. Maybe not in ski boots, but the amount of soreness I had after doing that for the next 3 days was just sheer wild. I've never felt that sore after doing that. But I mean, I skied some of the flatter parts, but some of the parts were just too steep for my skill set, because I just know how to pizza. I don't know how to like French fry yet. So it's just not, I just like literally cannot do that. But in hindsight, I wish I rented a snowboard, because at least it could have been like a sled. I probably could have used it just to sit on top of it and go down like a sled. Anyways, it was really funny. Lots of folks stopped and asked if I was okay, so I made a lot of friends on my way down. But yeah, that was that was also a hilarious highlight. Anyways,
So
I'll stop there. But yeah, it was a great random trip that we had made without like too many plans, except to see two of my friends, one in Stuttgart, Germany, and one who lives in Zurich.
very cool. Never been to the Alps. Haven't even skied for decades, I'm guessing. I'm trying to think the last time I went skiing. But
Do you know how to ski at least? Because I don't.
So yes and no. Like probably, honestly, would probably be a very similar experience to you. Like I've skied before. I can get down a mountain. One of the last times I skied was like a post-college, maybe senior year of college. A bunch of us went, and I decided, hey, I want to snowboard, and rented a snowboard, get up to the top of the mountain, and start coming down, and made it, I don't know, a couple hundred yards, and that took me like 20 minutes, and I'm like, screw this, I'm not gonna waste an entire weekend ski trip and learn. Like, it was, I just couldn't figure out the snowboard. It was very frustrating, very humbling. And
that's worse. That's not even yeah, we can talk about the ski versus snowboard thing. I don't have a preference, but I know that you don't get instant results with snowboard, unlike you do with skis, right?
And so like and again, I'm not like a great skier, but when I first time I skied, I kind of got it, right? It was like a little bit of learning. And again, I'm not.
Do you know how to skate? Like, can you hockey skate or whatever?
Yes, but not
that
like
helps, I think, with skiing.
Yeah, it's like I could skate around an ice rink, but I'm not going to be doing like, jumps.
Do you know the hockey
going backwards
stop with the two skates? Like,
I don't. I don't think so. It's been so long since I've skated, but I guess the point being is like when I skied, after like very short period of time, I was able to get down the hill, right? Where with a snowboard, it was like stop, start, stops. Like I just couldn't. It was extremely frustrating. I just couldn't figure it out. And as someone who's like competitive, and I was like, I don't want to deal with this. So I swapped out the snowboard for skis and just skied the rest of the trip. I've never attempted to snowboard again. But with skiing, like I've skied in the Midwest. If I were to go to like the Alps, or I don't know, I've never skied. Like I've been to Vail, and I've been out in the Colorado Mountains, but I've never attempted to ski out there. I could see my ski experience going similar to what you did. Like I get up there and I'm like, okay, this is just not, it's above my, like, I'm not doing double black diamonds, right? Just above, like I can ski, but I can't really ski.
Well, and what sense. I thought was their like green, easy, whatever. They don't have green there. It was marked blue, which they said, oh, our blue is the green. I'm like, okay, great, no problem. But I think the thing that happened though, now like I'm remembering more of this, the reason why I lost the confidence as like a beginner skier is because actually I did wipe out pretty hard. So I thought I had it, and I started going, and what ended up happening was I lost like the pizza ability was no longer pizzaing, and I was going toward the side where I would like literally then come off the run and be like on my own in like Alps snow going down like uncharted territory. So I had to make a call to fall out of that, and I was going pretty fast, and I realized that I fell in a way where I hit a lot of things, but I didn't break anything, which was like really, like, it was a relief. But in the moment I did actually know, because I got the wind knocked out of me. Like, it was a pretty hard fall. Like, Divide was behind me, and he came over, and I was on the ground, and all I felt was him disconnecting my skis from my feet before I even opened my eyes.
Oh, wow.
Like, I felt him disconnecting my skis.
Did you hit anything or just the ground?
I hit my head on the ground and my legs and my hips. Like, I rolled, and I'm lucky that my knees were fine because my skis didn't disconnect. So I knew that they were put together for a more advanced skier than me. Because they like, even through that fall, even Divide was like, those should have come off your feet, right? Like, that's too tight.
Mhm.
Like, because as a beginner, like they shouldn't come off with everything, but with a fall like that, they should have disconnected, and they didn't. And that made me nervous. And I was like, well, okay, that could have been a terrible fall, but it wasn't, just because like I kind of, turned into a rubber body as much as I could, so I wouldn't fall. Like I relaxed into it, because I do know how to fall from skating. But after that, I was like, there is no way. Like I no longer had confidence for anything that was like, you know what I mean? Like at the beginning, when I'm like, yeah, maybe I got this. And then the wipeout really is what actually made me not continue.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you're okay. Glad you had fun. And even hearing your story, it's like I'm probably good on skiing, snowboarding at this point in my
I was
life.
gonna try snowboarding next, but now listening to you, I'm like, maybe. But I know how to skateboard.
You
and I
might be fine.
windsurf.
Like some people think it's easier.
I feel like it would be more natural, because this is what like our host who snowboards, her boyfriend who's like an Austrian snowboarder, and Divide, who is like a Rockies snowboarder. They're all like, you know how to skateboard, you know how to windsurf, like, or at least you're learning and it's easy for you. Because after like 2 summers, I now can windsurf, which is harder. It's a big learning curve sport too. But like I'm good on a board. And they're like, why are you skiing? Try snowboarding. But now I feel like this might be also a decision I regret if I try this.
My recommendation would be try it, but just don't like do it on like if you got somewhere local, or where it's like you're not trying it on a you've got some a trip to Zurich or out west, and it's like you're going to spend a few days in the mountains. I would try it before you go on a big ski trip. And again, if you can skate, like you may just be a natural, it may just click and it'd be easier. Some people say it's way easier. When I did it, that's my expectation was easier than skiing. I was like, oh, I can ski, so snowboard. It was definitely not. But what we should do, we should have a DGen trip planned where we bring Dow Jones, and Dow Jones can just teach us all how to snowboard.
I love that, and I'd be up for learning snowboarding. At least Divide said like everybody laughed and said that my downhill like trek experience with a snowboard would have been at least more rewarding than carrying skis, because on the really steep hills there's like a way where you just kind of catch the edge and you're facing the mountain as you kind of come down, so you can always just like put your hands right on it and be touching it, and you can stop like pretty easily. So I do agree with that. At least like maybe the descent would have been like a beginner descent would have been more rewarding than just carrying my skis. Like, what was sore the most after that experience? My arms. My friend is like, let's go climbing, which I like, yeah, that would have been fun. But I can't climb because I can't lift anything. I can't lift my suitcase. Like I can't lift this fork. Like, for 3 hours I just hauled my skis. The nice like Swiss ski patrol people stopped. And that was probably one of the funniest moments, because they're like, are you okay? Like, I'm great now that I'm not attempting to ski. And it was a pretty funny interaction. Like, did you not see the bunny hill? I'm like, 9. 9. I did not go to the bunny hill. Okay. Like, I'm in this now. It's not like I can teleport there. Just let me do my walk of shame. But I did have I was going to segue into congratulating you on your anniversary of your sobriety.
Oh, thank you.
It's been over 10 years for me. I also do not drink unless it's like a special occasion, because like I don't mind commemorating something. And I did have a couple of sips of a beer, like on top of the chalet thing or whatever, just to celebrate the momentous occasion of me walking down the Alps in my ski boots. It was nice. It felt very like, as somebody who doesn't drink anymore at all, like having that like nice taste of beer was actually rewarding. I don't really like beer, but that was like a nice occasion. What I did learn though on the trip is that they have a ton of non-alcoholic beer in Germany and Switzerland and everywhere. It's like on tap even, like it's everywhere. They're just like, which version do you want? It's kind of really cool.
I would not expect that from, I think of Germany, I think like heavy beer drinking culture, right?
Well, my son, who is is 15, like this week, he drank a bunch of non-alcoholic beer, right? And it was just everywhere. Everyone's like, it was kind of cool. I was impressed by that.
Interesting. Yeah, I went, if you're not a brand new to the show here, you've probably heard me talk, not just that I don't drink, but very bullish on not just non-alcoholic beer, but non-alcoholic functional beverages. And so much so that I may help a local business scale. They've got just a single location, but they also have manufacturing and wholesale clients. And so I think they're set up really well to scale. And I so thank you, by the way, and appreciate all the kind words in the chat. I will I'll flash the post from earlier just so Von Prunton gets his thirst trap. He gets upset if I don't share at least one thirst trap a year. I kid, but so I stopped drinking in 2018, and it was like, well, as I said, it was a decision that I've repeated daily, kind of like the show. It's probably the simplest change or simplest decision that had a monumental impact on. I share the picture because like you can see the transformation, right? Like the physical change was very evident. However, much more so than the physical change was just my overall health and the improvement in mental health and emotional health and relationships and my sleep and energy, just on every level. It's something I'm forever grateful for, that I made the decision when I did. And please don't take this the wrong way. I'm not a prohibitionist. If you drink, this isn't like, it's not like that. For me, I was in my 30s and I was not sleeping well. I was out of shape. I was overweight, and I made the decision to stop drinking and to start working out daily. And the combination of the two, it's had a tremendous impact on my life, and something I'm forever grateful for it. I share not as like oh, look at me, but rather because I've shared that experience. I've had several in this space, but many friends, both in my real life outside of crypto and Web3 and inside of crypto and Web3. Many other friends have taken what I've shared and as some inspiration and either drastically cut back their alcohol consumption or how they consume alcohol, or in some cases they've also completely stopped drinking as a result. And so it's something that while I appreciate all the kind words, I'm not looking for, like, it's not like I would say when I just first started, it was maybe challenging for a bit. I also feel like society has shifted significantly in the last 8 years to when I first stopped drinking, I go to like a business meeting or a conference and I'd say, oh, I don't drink. And people would look at me like I had 3 eyeballs. Like, you don't drink? And it was probably those experiences that started really getting me thinking about just alcohol and its place in our society. And it's like, man, it's like the only drug on the planet. Do you actually have to explain why you don't? Could you imagine, like, oh yeah, I don't do heroin, and people are like, you don't do heroin? Like, it's crazy to think, oh, I don't smoke cigarettes. You don't smoke? It's like and now that's changed a lot. I do believe it's changed a lot in the last 6, 7, 8 years, where it's not just our alcohol. If you look at the data, alcohol sales are going down, and the younger generation not drinking nearly as much. I just also feel that in a weird way, there was like a social stigma attached to not drinking. And at least, often in the business world, US culture. And I feel that's went away to where it's now just viewed as much more normal. There's a lot more people that are just outspoken in their sobriety, or they don't drink. And so I share because if, it's whether it's not drinking or working out, like, I don't know all the answers, and I'm definitely not perfect, but my DMs are open. It may take me a week or 2 to get to it, but if you're going through a moment, or you're in need of any help or push, or and whether it's alcohol or eating less or whatever the case may be, it's just like little changes can have such an impact on on every area of your life, more so than just like, you may say, oh, I want to lose some weight, I want to lose my beer belly, or I want to lose my, I want to get more tone. and from my experience, it's while making small little daily changes not only will help you get there, it will the impact it'll have on other areas of your life, I think is what I'm trying to say. I'm not saying it very well. I should have this down a little better by now. But I guess what I'm trying to say is my decision to stop drinking, it's had such a greater impact on my life, far beyond what I ever expected, far beyond just any physical appearance or getting healthier or better sleep. Like it's just, and I think part of it's like, I don't know, maybe this show and the fact that we've ran for 1,128 days in a row, I never really connected the dots till now, but maybe there's some subconscious tie in there to, again, just make a decision to do something every day, and little decisions add up, things compound. And when we started the
It's
show,
self-discipline.
it is. Yep.
That's a huge part of that. I mean, I'm with you 100% on the non-drinking as someone who is also a non-drinker and also made that decision over a decade ago. But 100% agree with you on the it's not. I definitely don't view anyone else who drinks as less than or anything like that. It's to each their own for me.
Same.
And I've had my fair share of the same reactions. But oftentimes what I've stopped doing at first, I think I was kind of like, I don't drink was a statement I would make. And then I realized that statement is unnecessary. And I would just order something that's non-alcoholic and leave it there without proclaiming that I don't drink. I think that that's something I learned over the course of, I don't think, it's been 15 probably years for me, even more. Like I just stopped drinking. And I used to smoke too. So I stopped doing that a long time ago as well. Both of those, I'm just like, yeah, no, I'm out. I'm good. So, but I reward myself with fancy, I'll always get the mineral water, or bubbly, that kind of stuff, just for fun, fancy water. Why not? It's great. And then I don't know if you're completely dry cap, but I will have if there's a bit of a sip of champagne for New Year's or whatever it is, it's never more than a sip or two, but I'll definitely commemorate something, with a little bit, or I'll taste a wine that a friend made, for instance, at a winery or something. You know what I mean? Because it has different meaning to me. It's more it's actually special, or there's something about, a ritual around it, rather than just the ritual being a society that might look at me funny if I also don't have a pint with everybody else at trivia night or whatever. But yeah, my DMs are also open for that, or any other kind of self-regimented things. I think sometimes people just need accountability buddies. If somebody just needs to check in on you every morning or every week or whatever. And I have that with a bunch of my friends. Every Wednesday morning, I have a check-in with a friend of mine just to see if she's accomplishing the goals that she set out for herself. And that stuff is huge when you're just like, hey, how are you doing? Are you doing that thing? Are you not? Sometimes we can't do that for ourselves, and it's nice to have someone else.
And often it's not those individuals. I mean, different for everyone, but often it's not that they need to bring any sort of sage advice or even say anything specific. Sometimes just showing up. And that was also when I made that decision 8 years ago. It was, I had some friends that they just showed up, and I don't know how to describe it other than they just showed up. And individuals, friends, family, they'll just be forever grateful for, because they didn't judge, they didn't question, they just like you said, they just checked in, they just showed up. And again, those little things really do compound tremendously.
They're huge. Divide just came to me with a little post-it note because he's so cute, and he did this is important, and I really, yes, I'm gonna say this, and I'm not sure, we didn't address why you went sober or why I went sober. I do not have an addiction, and I'm not an alcoholic. Therefore, I can taste something, and I'm not breaking a sobriety. We do have several friends that are alcoholics, that are in programs, that have sponsors, that are years sober. And for them, having a little bit of champagne at New Year's is not an option. And they do not do that because they're actually addicts. So I just wanted to make sure that I call out the important part of if you are on that journey, please, I don't want to make light of oh yeah, sure, I can have a bit of champagne at New Year's. I am completely understand where if you're in sobriety from a different perspective of addiction, that is just not an option for you to do that. So I wanted to make sure it didn't sound like I was, in any way being like, oh yeah, sure, it's totally easy or whatever. That's my journey. But I do not have an addiction to alcohol, and I would not be tasting anything if I did.
Yeah, for great point, and I think very important. For some, it's like I could go if I wanted to, I could have a taste of wine or some champagne, but for me, and I think partly because there was times before 8 years ago where I might have like, oh, I'm gonna take a break and I not drink for a month, and then um, I might, oh, I'm gonna have a beer out with dinner, and then it became, okay, I'm gonna have a nightcap, and it just like for me, I do have an addictive personality, and while I wouldn't say I definitely was like a raging alcoholic. I wasn't like tying one off or drinking in the morning or anything like that, but I would say I was a high functioning alcoholic. I would, and mostly it was like to de-stress. It became like a coping mechanism. I was going through some challenges building a business at the time, and I would have a gin and tonic or two to go to sleep, to take the edge off, to de-stress, and not realizing that while it may help me pass out, it definitely wasn't aiding in sleep. In fact, it was negatively impacting my sleep, and end up waking up at 2 in the morning once the alcohol metabolized. And I didn't understand that stuff. And so for me, while I didn't like I went to like I think maybe one or two AA meetings with a friend just to like kind of like in support of them, and I've been there, but I didn't like do the official 12-step program or anything like that. Just made the decision to quit, and for me, I quit. That said, I would say while it stuck when I quit 8 years ago, there was times before where it didn't stick, and so I would say it was probably the simplest, hardest thing I've ever done in terms of making a decision at the time, especially where it just wasn't social, at least in my world, in my business world, and I also was traveling at the time. Every week I'd have multiple, business meetings. I'd be hosting a franchisee or doing something where in an environment, a social setting where it was almost expected that you had a couple drinks. And so for me, it was challenging, but everything's on a scale, right? Everything's on a spectrum. For some people, very difficult. And even the thought or even being in like a bar could trigger someone. For me, I enjoy the environments. I still go out. I still hang out in those environments, and I just have no desire to drink. But I know that that's, so it's like if you're on one end where zero addiction and desire or need for it, where I'm probably like in the middle where I do have an addictive personality, but yet today I have zero desire, to where others it's like can't even, if they see a beer, they may feel triggered and want to drink. It's everyone's own journey. And I think what I also did is I educated myself on not just alcohol and drinking, but just addiction in general. And I think I've shared on here before, like Dr. Gabor Mate, I found him on a Tim Ferriss interview many years ago, and just talks into like speaking of Carl Jung and, there's some deep rooted psychological stuff to this that most of us just don't understand. It's hard to connect these dots if we've never been educated on it or never been shared. And so I will share my story probably once a year. I mean, like to your point, my DMs are open if anyone wants to chat or needs any help. I'm there, but it's not just a alcohol thing. I think that's what I want to stress. For me, I'm healthier and happier, just not having alcohol in my life, just not drinking. For others, it might be food. I see a lot of great comments in all the chats, by the way, like even some people shouting out like GLP-1s, like down 50 pounds, not just cutting out, reduce food, but reducing the desire to drink. Like there's nothing wrong with whether it's medication, whether it's AA, whether it's full-blown rehab, like everyone's journey can be different. And it's also like, what is important to you? Like, what are you looking to accomplish? What are you, and I think that's at the end of the day, it's not a drinking conversation. It's a conversation about being better and extending your life and being happier, and not, whether it's food or gambling or porn or whatever people like may get at shopping. There's a variety of things that people will choose to cope. And I think, and again, in my experience, you're a lot happier, a lot healthier when you choose to have that control, that discipline, and make changes to be better today than you were yesterday, be better this month than last month, be better this year than you were last year. And it's easy for me now to reflect, and not only am I healthier, but just so much happier today. And I've always been a positive person, always been an optimistic person. I've been an aspiring stoic for well over a decade, but just where I'm at, like mentally and in my like, it's really hard to get me down. It's really hard to. It's all small stuff. Like you zoom out, you're having a bad day. Like, Ash, are you even going to remember this in 5 years from now? And if the answer is no, like just move on. Like it's not that deep. It's not that big a deal. And I think for me, just being always on, they locked in, as the kids would say. I didn't realize how like a nightcap or two every night to go to sleep, like while I may not be drunk the next morning, the alcohol's still in my system. Like it has a it's not just going to immediately go away, and the ongoing impact it can have not just on your organs and your health, but mentally, and just always having that in your system. It's not a good thing. It's not healthy. Just as smoking's unhealthy. That said, you're not an evil person if you choose to smoke or you choose to drink. It's just, if you have something that you feel is a vice or holding you back, make some changes. Just take it one day at a time. And I think many people would be amazed on how, not just how wide the impact those changes could be, but often how quickly you can start seeing changes beyond physically. I see we had a few people jump up on stage. Let's go Machiavelli, and we'll get James in here. Machiavelli, GM, what brought you up this morning?
Oh no, man! I just wanted to echo that sentiment. At the beginning of February, like we grew up in a culture, and I think it's the same. Where I get off of work and you have a few beers, like that's the relax time. You know what I'm saying? You use these things to kick back, so to speak, and then like it just kind of becomes a part of like societal behavior and stuff like that. But I've never been like a hardcore drinker or anything like that, but like I did find myself over the past few years, like being in crypto, like drinking every day, and like and like not for any other reason, just because I could. You know what I mean? And it's almost like and I like beer. You know what I mean? But yo, I've lost 32 pounds in the past 2 months because at the beginning of February I just quit. Like I just quit drinking. Like it came in the form of like 20 pounds in February, and then I pouched sodas and stuff like that this month or in March, and I dropped another 15 pounds and stuff like. And yo, in the midst of this, I lost my Bored Ape Yacht Club ring, because when I lost the weight, my ring like just flew off of my hand one day, and I wasn't paying attention. Luckily, my son found it the other day, but I was like devastated this whole month, because I was like, yo, I lost weight, and then my ring flew off my finger and I can't find it. But we did some spring cleaning and found it in the corner of the room. I guess I just didn't feel it. Anyways, I just wanted to echo that sentiment, because like I've never felt better just cutting something out of my diet. You know what I mean? And like especially with the sodas too, like I lost that sluggish thing. Like I'm notorious for sleeping 3 or 4 hours no matter what my condition is, and then being up and at it, and I'm full of energy all the time. I can't escape it. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just like my heart beats full of energy. But I've noticed a huge difference by cutting out the alcohol every day, and just like the clarity. And it's like I don't miss it or anything. Like I don't know if I can't. And for those who do have addiction problems, you know what I'm saying? Like, please get help and do all that. I don't know if I have that issue, but I can tell you that I've never felt better in my life over the past couple of months, just making some simple changes like that, cutting out a lot of the processed sugar and the alcohol, which compounds.
Yep. Nope. Absolutely. Well, first of all, congrats. That's awesome. Proud of you. And that was the other thing that we were talking about in the other chat. Like, around that time, like the craft brew scene, the brewery scene got really big, and started seeing breweries everywhere. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the taste, and it wasn't just like alcohol. It was not realizing that like a single IPA could be like 800 calories, and the amount of calories you could drink on a night. It'll blow your mind if you start actually tracking it and becoming aware of it. And so I wasn't like drinking like soda or anything to begin with before that, but I not only I stopped drinking alcohol, I stopped drinking calories. Like I just don't drink empty calories. I don't drink things with sugar in it. And I might have a kombucha, or like, it's so much so that where now it's like I've got all this rec drinks and I'll drink it every once in a while, but I actually feel guilty drinking a rec drink because it's got 30 calories and 5 grams of sugar. And it's just like, I program myself just not to, not to drink calories. And that also had a big, now I say all that, it also, when I made that change, it created a crazy sweet tooth. Like I never previously was a big dessert person, never had much of a sweet tooth. And then when I stopped drinking, my body decided to overcompensate.
I
And
have that problem right now.
Yep.
Cap. It's like I want to eat candy, or I want, like, I've been eating a lot of bananas and like super sweet apples and grapes and stuff like that, just because of the sweetness. But I want the sugar.
Yep.
Like that's what my body, especially every like I feel like that's probably my addiction is the sugar.
Yeah, no, same. And so I will, if I'm out at and now I treat myself. I'm at a restaurant, I look at the dessert menu first. I do my best still to not have any added sugar and eat healthy snacks, healthy sweets. Like for instance, instead of eating ice cream, I'll use whipped cream with granola, like healthy granola without added sugar. But yeah, it was a big change in terms of my going from no sweet tooth to a crazy sweet tooth after I cut out alcohol. Again, driving home the fact that it's not just the alcohol, it's alcohol and the calories and the sugar. And like, you don't realize what you're consuming. It's like, think about, like, no one would like go out. Oh, I mean, maybe someone, but most people aren't going to go out and like drink a 12 pack of Mountain Dew or 12 pack of Coca-Cola. Yet someone goes out and, I mean, maybe 12 is extreme, but even 6, like it's consuming when you're out and, or even in your house, like, that idea of nightcap, like that stuff really, really can add up. And so yeah, now I'm coffee, tea, and sparkling water all day, every day.
I'm also a huge sugar addict. In fact, that's probably the only addiction I have. And I've gone on keto several times to try to battle that. And I'm fine once I'm in there, but very hard to commit to that. I think one of the things to like help maybe think about like sugar consumption that has had me like really reevaluate my relationship with it as somebody who is like, post cancer, doing a bunch of meds that are like supposed to prevent the cancer recurrence. And I'm going to have a pretty big blood test coming up in a couple months that will ultimately determine if I actually need like full on chemo to mop up what's left, or if I don't have anything left. And I was doing this like PET scan test, which is a test that just like scans to see if you have any active cancer. It detects a bunch of different kinds. And then as I learned the actual like tracer that they inject for a PET scan, it kind of really made me think about sugar more than I ever have in the context of cancer. Because what they put in there is something called FDG, which is just a radioactive tracer labeled glucose dye. And the reason why it works is because, especially for like, there's about 10 different cancers that in your body metabolize sugar like way faster than your regular cells. And so they light up. So you kind of, before this test, go keto for a day or two, like they make you fast, obviously. And then you get this tracer injection and then you go into the scan. And up to like 5 to 10 millimeter tiny tumors are detected if they're present, because they will metabolize that sugar faster than the rest of your cells. That is how like sugar dependent most cancers are. That there's a whole imaging test now that is routinely used everywhere to detect cancer mets and just cancer in general. And it's kind of, then I'm just like, wow, okay, well, maybe it's a bad idea if I, for anybody really, not just somebody who has had cancer or not, like, thinking about like something I've never cut out of my diet ever was sugar, but yet I was not a drinker or a smoker, and I don't have genetics for getting cancer, and yet I ended up getting breast cancer. And it's just like, wait a minute, but I never stopped sugar. So now I'm just like, wait, what is it? And it's not so much that I'm looking for any kind of cause. This stuff happens, DNA mutates, whatever, but it's just more like, if we have an entire imaging test that is based on how much cancer cells love sugar,
That's wild.
maybe, just maybe I should stop eating sugar,
Yeah, that is, I mean, known sugar is not necessarily healthy for you, but I had no idea that's a current test is, that itself is an eye opener. again, appreciate all the kind words in the chat. Machiavelli, you're getting some love as well. Shout out to everyone else. Sharon, Be Epic, 9 years. That's incredible. James, GM, good morning, sir. Always a pleasure. What brought you up this morning?
GM, can you hear me okay?
Yep, we got you.
Sweet. Say congratulations. I'm at like just about 8 years. I'm like at 2,908 days. So like, congrats to you.
Thank you, sir. You as well.
Yes. I think what's funny is like there might be folks on like listening right now who are like, oh, why do we have to hear this? Because like there might be two people who do need to hear some of this stuff, to where it's like it's okay to hear about this stuff and it's okay to talk about this stuff. And I usually don't bring it up with folks unless I hear people talking about it, and then I'm like, okay, cool. That's like the permission to like talk about it. But it's like it's so funny. I was like laughing listening to like Machiavelli, Lumen, and both of you, all of y'all talking about sugar, because I was thinking the same thing. I was like, I just replaced all my stuff with sugar, because like basically like everyone spends all this time at the beginning of dinners trying to pick out what drink they want, and at the end I'm spending all the time trying to figure out what sweets I want. I'm like, y'all got your dessert at the beginning, I get my dessert at the end. But yeah, I just wanted to say that I don't really have much else to say. I just wanted to say like congratulations to you. Thank you for bringing this up and making it a topic for folks to listen to. And even though everyone else has already said it, I will say it as well. My DMs are open if you're struggling. And listen, if you're like in month 1, month 2, first 12 months fucking suck. They fucking suck. You're learning a new you. You're not able to go to things your friends are asking you to go to. I had to lose my entire friend group at the time, and like there's decisions you have to make, but you're gonna make yourself a better person, right? 3 favorite things that ever happened in my life: marrying my wife, having my kids, and quitting drinking. And like,
that's awesome.
It's just, you know what I mean? It's just like one of those things to where it's like, it's okay to stop drinking. It's okay not to drink around your friends. It's okay to like be the person who doesn't drink if you're in a group and not drinking. That's it. That's all I had to say. Just wanted to come up, say hello, and say thank you to all that, and just say that.
My pleasure. I appreciate you sharing, and to double tapping on what James said. Like, I know, you're turning into Web3 show. We're not engagement baiting you with the FTX repayments. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about markets. And then we're going to talk about this every day. But if one person out there is impacted by this conversation today, and they make some changes, whether it's drinking or something else that they've been struggling with, it's worth more than all of our time today. So for those of you that might be rolling your eyes at today's conversation, we'll get back on crypto here soon, but just know that, it's this sort of stuff that, I mentioned there was a video that I watched, James, Outer, Machiavelli all talked about their journeys. It's different for everyone, but you just never know. And I appreciate y'all listening in, appreciate the support on the space today, even despite the X challenges. And also, while I'm not a counselor, I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a doctor or a medical professional, my DMs are open. But we also have someone's DMs are open that actually is an addiction counselor. Swiv in the chat says, in the same club, actually work as an addiction counselor. DMs are open for anyone struggling with addiction. Not enough people talk about it. And I think that is, thank you for offering that up. I pinned Swiv's post up top. If you're not giving Swiv a follow, whether you're struggling with addiction or not, I would strongly recommend it. Not enough people talk about it, right? It's like, this is like, this show, hopefully by now you realize it's while the focus is markets and products and builders, especially with those builders, is the human element of it. And this is one of those things that I don't have any regrets. I do wish I had made the decision sooner in life, because after I made the decision, it became like a superpower. I'd be at a business meeting, we'd be tempted to close the deal, and business dinner, and 2 hours later, half the table is like, slipping a little bit. They might be at their B or C game. Meanwhile, I'm still locked in on my A game. And it became like a real life superpower by not losing control. And you don't I guess that's, again, it didn't have to be like, wasted to be not on my A game. It just, you're much more cognizant and aware of those sort of environments and how other people are acting or not acting when you remain sober, when you remain completely in control. And I am grateful for the people who did talk about it publicly. While society has changed, I think quite a bit in the last 8 years, it still can be a big move, and whether booze or anything else. And addiction's real. It's addiction's very real. Not everyone who doesn't drink is an alcoholic or has a problem with drinking, but addiction is I don't want to say something I struggle with because I'm aware of it, right? Like I'm aware of it, and I just as I keep my investments or trading or gambling in certain buckets, I'm very consciously aware of how easy it is for me to get hooked on something. Um, and if it's best ball drafts, oh, worst case scenario, I burn a few $1,000s playing fantasy best ball this year. It's not going to change my life. And it's something I happen to enjoy. It doesn't take, I'm fortunate I do it with disposable money. It's that in that bucket and chasing asymmetrical gains, but it's not just time. Sometimes it's money. Sometimes it's time. And, you can get video games are an addiction for some people, and they burn countless hours in relationships. And video games aren't bad, but anything outside of moderation can have a negative impact on your life. And I just think more people, I think once you hear people talk about it, you realize that a lot of people struggle with certain things in life, it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to be struggling with something, especially someone who's, I'm an optimist. I'm a perma optimist, and I find solutions, and I'm a competitor and consider myself a leader. Like it's sometimes for those that are, if you're wired similarly, it's even more challenging to not be okay with something, or to acknowledge you have a challenge, or your something has slipped to what was a casual, I enjoyed playing this game, to where now next thing you know, you're spending 8-10 hours a day, and it's hurting your relationship with your friends, your family, it's like, and again, I'm trying to give different examples because it's not zooming out. It's not any one thing, but it is recognizing that addiction is very real. It's on a spectrum. It impacts everyone differently, and it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to struggle with something. And if you do, I'm telling you, like, talk to others. Like, you've got half a dozen people at least today that's offered our DMs. We may not know the answers, and sometimes you're not even looking for an answer. You just need to get something off your chest. You need to share with someone who's not your significant others, not your spouse, not your kids. I'd also give a quick plug for talk to a therapist. I don't speak to a therapist regularly, but I did for a while. And it was, it had I think a positive impact. It's good just to speak to someone who's not your close friend or family member, and just talk about things. Anyways.
And also I think recognizing, if you do go down the therapy route, that not every therapist is actually going to be good for you.
Yep.
So like, if the first one that you talk to and you're like finding yourself wondering why you're there, or zooming out or whatever, they're not the right person. Go find another one. Like, it might take you like several therapists to find like an actual productive person that would work. And that's just like that with life, because you're not friends with every single person either, right? So, people are people. They're going to have personalities. Some will match you, some won't.
Great take. And I think there's probably people who have maybe went to a therapist, where couples counseling, and like, this was dumb, that was stupid, I'm never going to go again. With everything in life, it's not all things are created equal. And unfortunately, not all therapists are great. Like, they're just not. Find someone that you can relate to. Find someone that you don't have to become best friends with, but like, you might enjoy playing around a golf, or I don't know, having a beer with, maybe not the best example today, but
somebody you at least respect. Because
exactly.
I think sometimes when there is like a lack of lived experience, which in research now more and more shows that any practitioner that has some lived experience related to what you're going through actually does a better job of aiding you in whatever you need, versus someone who just read about it in a textbook. That's like proven. That's social science research.
Yep.
Does it happen every time? No, not always. And that's absolutely fine. But in terms of therapy specifically, with certain subject matters, like, if you're sitting across the room from someone and they say that their route to being a therapist is that they themselves had an addiction, that's going to land with you so differently than if it's like someone who is just like, oh, well, I studied about it and now I'm here to treat you with all the tools I learned. I'm not even shading people. Like, you don't need an addiction to qualify. I'm just saying, for some specific patients, they really need like a pretty like a bigger intervention, which could be somebody with lived experience. And this is just coming from like, you know, having colleagues that are in the mental health space and having certain conversations with them. And some of them are in like mental health academia where they study these kinds of things, and lived experience professionals comes up a lot. It's actually the main like focus of a friend of mine's research. And when I talk to her, it's always like, it just blows my mind how patients respond to that. So it could just be that, you know, if you haven't found the right person, you need to look for someone who isn't necessarily like, you know, they may or may not be somebody you would be friends with, but there's somebody you respect. Like when you're sitting across from them and you're talking, you have some sense of respect, because if you don't have that, it's usually not going to work and you might as well leave.
Yep, 100%. And I think like while AA wasn't necessarily my personal journey, man, like having sat in on a couple of meetings, like the testimonies you hear, it's so powerful. And I think, I mean, my read is part of the reason that program is stuck around for decades, if not a century plus, is exactly that. It is shared experience. It's not some lecture from someone who's, you know, read something in a book and they're telling you this is how you should act, this is what you should do. Rather, the hearing from others and similar lived experiences or lived experiences, and being able, whether you can relate, or sometimes it's just like, oh my God, like I thought, you know, it's wild. I'm not gonna like share any of the personal stories that I heard, but just, man, it's really, I think as I reflect now, we're talking through it, like my understanding of, as someone who grew up in sales and learned personality traits and how people act and why people do things, like it unlocked an entire new element of understanding and education for me, having went through that journey and hearing from some others and learning about some other people. And just, yeah, some of the stuff, some of the stories you hear is wild. Shout out to Mel, who's not only you know, hasn't drank for many years. She just shared, addiction runs hardcore in my genes, but I'm also over a year sober from smoking cigarettes. Says, thanks to your show, you and Steve, who I can't tag, ran a show about addiction a while ago. Probably, it might've been this time last year. And it changed her mindset. And again, that's for everyone who's champing at the bit for us to get into a market update here. That's why we share. Is not enough people talk about this sort of stuff. And while I'm not going to use the platform every day to talk about that, it's when the time's right, when the strikes a nerve with some individuals, or there's, you know, interest and desire to share and listen. Hopefully someone else can take the inspiration, motivation that Mel took a while ago to stop smoking. And thanks for sharing. I appreciate everyone sharing. I know sometimes it's not comfortable, or you prefer not to share, and that's perfectly fine as well. Like, you don't have to share, whether it's you've cut sugar or booze or smoking. But if you ever, you know, again, ever need to talk about it, ever do need to share, my DMs, Outers, Swiv, James, many others have offered up their DMs, and take them up on it. Anyways, Bouvet, I saw you jumped up on stage. GM, appreciate you joining us. What brought you up today?
Yo, GM guys. You guys would be surprised how many apes don't drink because at Ape Fest. I thought I would be the only one, but a lot of apes don't drink. And I mean, I did before, but I didn't for many years now. And it just feels like it's not needed for your body.
I didn't get drunk at Ape Fest, except for at the main party, because they were handing out those cups and I was trying to collect those cups. But I didn't catch a buzz no other time on alcohol the whole time I was in Vegas.
Yeah, I have all those cups, still didn't drink. And it's I like, once you don't need it anymore, your body doesn't really like crave for it, right? And then it's like everything, and then you have so much like time and like effectiveness, everything. But you guys were talking about biohacking as well, so the one or two important things that I like to do, and you guys can try it if you want or not, it's okay. In the morning, I always get up and just go out to the sun, and it gives you, you know, lots of like biorhythm reset, which helps your sleep, and then sleep is the most important. So if you just do one thing right, it's just go out in the morning to the sun and then go to sleep well.
Yep.
And then another thing I do is like in the morning I boil water, right, on a like anything on a pot, or if you have like a little kettle, you boil the water, and then you make it precipitate, half of it, like 50% is gone, right, boiling and gone, and then you drink it before you eat or drink anything. That precipitated water, it's gonna change everything, guys. You'll see.
Interesting. What's the boiling? Like I'm familiar. A lot of people would say, before you drink coffee or caffeine in the morning, drink some water. If you really want to get, spice it up, put some, pink Himalayan sea salt in there to replenish those electrolytes. But when we sleep, we get dehydrated, and we're not drinking for 8 hours or 6, 7, 8 hours, and often we sweat when we sleep. And drinking water first thing in the morning is a known, proven, science-backed best practice. But what's the boiling? That's the first I've ever heard, like, boiling water. What is that? Why? What's the reason behind that? Do you know?
Okay, yeah, no, I'm not like a doctor or anything, guys, so take it like that. But the thing is, this is what happens, guys. It's not boiled water, it's precipitated water, right? And there's a big difference, because even back in the days where we didn't have like these water purification system, reverse osmosis and all this, where you take the molecules apart and put it back, the water wasn't as clean, right? So they used to do it in the ancient times as well. But these days, they do it because your liver, for example, right? There's some cold and like hot air, for example. It might turn like a little bit Eastern, but like the chi energies you have and everything. So if you keep drinking cold water in the morning every day, then it affects your like the hot energy, right? Your cold energy is increasing, so then it's gonna like make you more tired, and then it's gonna also affect your liver and some organs a little bit, right? So maybe once a year, or sometimes by months, just try like drinking hot things in the morning, right? Just to make that balance, and then so you'll feel less tired. It's like a matter of, how certain foods have like, some make you warm, some make you cold, and there's like these different kind of diversifications on it, and then also foods that are good for your blood type and not, and all this. You can read that also in this like blood type book. So, but to get back to this precipitated water, you're boiling it, and then you're precipitating half of it, and then that water, just simply put, is supposed to be good for your like chi and well-being, right? So in the morning, and like good for the gut when you drink it before anything else. So I mean, it's very easy to try, guys, and it's not like any
Can I buy
recommending.
precipitated water, or do I gotta precipitate the water myself?
No, it does it itself. When you boil it on a kettle or a pot, right? Like you boil the water on a high temperature, like 8 or 9. When you see it after like 15 minutes, half of it is going to be gone. It's going to be steamed, right? So if you put in like 500 milliliter, then there's going to be like 250 to 300 left, and then you just drink that.
Okay, now I understand.
Interesting. That's the first I've heard the boiling water, but I definitely will double tap. Water is, whether you're drinking a gallon of water a day or you just drink water when you drink up, like more water is a net positive, I think, for most. Let's do this. Really enjoyed the conversation. Greatly appreciate everyone who shared. Thank you all for listening through that, and offering the support, even if it's not something that's impacted you or impacts you. Odds are there's someone in your life that does, and just sometimes letting them know that showing up for them can have a tremendous impact on someone else's life. So thanks again for all the support. Appreciate everyone who added the conversation. Greatly enjoyed it. And that said, we're going to hard pivot into a daily market update to talk a little bit of crypto things, and then I'll take us on to this FTX repayment and other things in the news today. But let's do a proper play in here with our friends over at Awaken Tax. If you've not yet filed your taxes, you got about 2 weeks, at least here in the States, before tax day cometh. And I can't speak highly enough of Awaken Tax for help with your tax prep, especially if you have multiple crypto transactions across multiple chains. Awaken is crypto natives building a crypto native product, and they update that they update it. I want to say daily or weekly, if not daily, and including they've added support for that 1099 DA form that you'll get from Coinbase or Kraken or any of the exchanges. Their subscription-based software, it covers you for the full year. You can get $50 off using code coffee50. If you're a new user, just code coffee50. If you're a returning user, use return coffee50. You too can get $50 off if you were with Awaken last year. But yeah, 2 weeks remaining. Get your taxes done. This is me telling myself I don't want to file extension. Last year, I might have been the first year in a long time I was able to get it in before the 15th. I was often an extendor. But thanks to Awaken, you don't have to take the extra months to get all those transactions reconciled. This is our daily market update brought to you by Awaken Tax. Head to awaken.tax. Use code coffee50 or return coffee50 to save $50.
It's market update time. Let's set the play. Powered by Awaken, the smart tax way. From crypto flips to DeFi stacks. They keep it clean. Got your back. Grab your coffee. Let's break it down. Daily update. Right now.
Again, this is our daily market update brought to you by Awaken Tax. Awaken.tax. For your tax prep. Again, code return coffee50 or coffee50 to save $50. Looking at majors today, we're down a little bit. It's just like volatility is about the only thing I think certain. We are holding that 65K, 66K floor with Bitcoin. I guess all things considered, yes, down 20% since January, but with the Iran conflict and oil mooning, I think it's I feel kind of bullish that we're still at 66K. And I was looking, well, let me get through the market update and then I'll come back to, kind of a base bull and bear take from a fund. And I think their numbers, not mine, but their numbers, base case 65 to 72K holds. Accumulation phase would still put us at 150K year-end target, keeps that intact. Bull case would be, the Iran conflict resolves and oil pulls back, the Fed pivots, and Bitcoin to 90K by June. And bear case, full closure at the Strait of Hormuz and oil to 140 plus, inflation spiraling. Their bear case is still Bitcoin testing 45 to 55K. For me, wow, do we want to necessarily see 45, 55K Bitcoin? Not really, other than, buying a dip, I guess. But we're not that far off from it. And if that's, what do they know? This is from Genesis Bytes. And they just ran the 3 different war scenarios. This is, again, their base, bear, and bull cases. The bear case isn't that bad relative to the upside of their bull. And even their base case still targeting 150 by year end. So I don't know, some silver lining there. It is down 1.65% on the day to 66,765. ETH is down about 1% to 2,057. BNB down 2%, XRP down 2.5%, Solana down 4% to $81. Doge down 2.59%. Some reason, get rid of me this. Bitcoin Cash up 2% on the day. I have no idea who's still buying or trading this, but it remains the top 10 token as it relates to market cap. Hyperliquid, the big loser on the day, down 5.78%, despite those oil, the volume in commodities and oil continuing to crush over there. I don't know what this one is. Unis SED-LEO. LEO is the ticker. I should know what it is because the market cap's 9.2 billion, but first time, I guess, recognizing it. It's flipped Cardano. It's wild to me to think Cardano. I want to say like a year ago, we were joking that Cardano seemed like a stable coin. It was just range bound between 80 and 85 cents. It's now down to 24 cents as, again, everything continues to sell off due to this global uncertainty, to which I say, again, I think it's pretty bullish that we're still hanging out at, north of 65K. But again, volatility is about the only thing I'm certain of. Heading over to NFTs, I saw, I can't remember if it was Loki or J-Bond. Someone, they gave a 30-day chart, the biggest winners on the month. I'll flash that here in a bit. But looking at the daily daily report here, Pudgy's up basically flat at 4.06. Punk's also flat at 28.98. Hyper's up 1% to 400 Hype. VFriends, one of those big winners, not just on the day, but on the month. VFriends up 11% on the day to 1.44. Mutants down 1% to 0.73. Apes down 1% to 5.18. Pudgies, little Pudgies down to 0.42. Moonbirds down another 3% to 0.81. Mirror Stages was that open edition Botto mint. They're at 0.1, which is, I think, up slightly from mint. I don't remember the exact. It was like $25. I guess it would be down slightly. Quinn by Larva Labs, haven't seen that popping on the volume chart for a bit, but it's 2.27. Normies up to 0.1, up 7.8% on the day. A kid called Beast, been on a runner lately. Anytime you see Dort buy an NFT, you should just go sweep the floor, because the guy, I don't think he's missed this entire cycle. If it's like Dort has got the Midas touch when it comes to NFTs. If he goes hard on something, it's often running. Milady's up to down, up flat, sorry, 1.13. And Chimpers 0.61, Azuki 0.68, Quirky's 1.15. Again, and up another 0.3% on the day, but just continues to perform. Pixel Pups, one of that recent free mint we shouted out here last week on the show, up to 0.09, up 27% on the day, and the market really liking what Simple Farmer is building there with Anvil. Other Deeds 0.07, Good Vibes Club 0.61. There was another I was looking for, but I'm not finding it right here. We'll come back to it. But that's our daily market update, brought to you by Awaken Tax. Head to awaken.tax, use code coffee50 or return coffee50, and hit up Duca for not only support or more, but give him a big congrats. Just got engaged over the weekend, and one of the good builders, great builders in the space. Outer, if you don't mind, I would like to go refill my coffee, one addiction that I'm fully leaning into, and have no plans to quit that one anytime soon. But anything jump out to you on that market update, or anything other than, I have a few other headlines here, but anything other than this FTX repayment and like the market talk? Anything else on your mind or catch your attention here? Did you pay attention? I know you were traveling. Did you catch any of the news or content coming out of Art Basel, Hong Kong?
A little bit, but I wasn't. I was kind of just like really focused on family time, because I'm really bad at doing that. So, but go get your coffee. Maybe I can talk a little bit about some of the things that I saw while I was in the Zurich Art Gallery.
I love it. I want to go back. I've only been to the Zurich airport. It was beautiful, beautiful airport, so clean, and obviously I could see the landscape. That's I only laid over in the airports. Anytime I've been to Switzerland, and it's on my must return list. So yeah, I will turn up the volume. I will be right back, and I appreciate you sharing.
Yeah, I mean, the reason why I'm saying it is because one of the things that was interesting to me was to go see the Rafik Anadol piece that was there about glaciers, and the thought that I had. So if you haven't seen it, or if you haven't heard of Rafik Anadol, he does a lot of this like AI data moving works, and he's had, I think, I can't remember what the name of the project was that he ended up minting. So he did come into the NFT space here a while back, and then it, obviously does a lot of these like larger scale installations that have moving image. And this one was a mirrored room, so it was like a bunch of monitors in the perimeter, and then mirrors on top and mirrors on the floor, so it gives you that like Drost infinite effect. But Divide and my son and I thought it was really funny because it was so like constrained and hot. There was almost like a maybe unintentional like idea behind feeling like you're just absolutely boiling in there, and this like whole melting glaciers sentiment. But yeah, I don't know. It was interesting to like, I guess, experience a Rafik Anadol work in person. I wanted to see if it was as wow like inducing as people say that it is. It wasn't for me, but I'm also a huge consumer of a lot of different art, so it takes a lot more than like moving image and a Drost effect for me to be wowed by stuff. But I really appreciated how much children loved it. Like a lot of kids went in there and just blew their minds. One thing that also was interesting to me is we went into the like Renaissance, whatever, realist painting movement, which is like my least favorite form of art. But because to me that's just like people painting things when the cameras didn't exist, right? So I love it, but I also like don't love it at the same time. But there was a whole food section there, and there was a lot of lobster claws in. So we thought it was kind of hilarious to like link like 1400s paintings to Claudebot. So we went around looking for
What
any like
what was that? Would we know why? Because it's so funny you say that. I didn't realize this was a thing. My only knowledge or thing I've seen in person is Picasso did. I'm sorry, not Picasso. Dali did the same thing. He made like a lobster telephone, and what was that? What created the?
It's on my list to like actually have a like an AI conversation and rabbit hole this whole lobster claw situation of the 14, 15, and 1600s paintings. But I took photos of a couple of them that stood out, and I want to like it's to be continued. Maybe next week I'll talk about it. But definitely took a bunch of selfies with these like old paintings of lobster claws. There was a couple of others that like it was, I don't know if you've seen those memes where like art is restored and it looks really like bad. So there was definitely work that like kind of almost was like meme worthy a little bit, you know, like there was one that was called like Saint Anthony talking to a fish from like, I don't know, 1467 or something. And it's this like picture of this guy and he's standing on the side of like an ocean and there's like splashing going around and there's a fish and the fish is bleeding because it's on the rocks and he's like has his hand up as if he's talking to it. But if you zoom into the foreground, there's this other fish in the background and its face is such a troll. Like it literally looks like its tongue is hanging out and it's like trolling you. So all that to say that I went through the museum and looked at a lot of this like old art through like a very is anything meme worthy in here lens. And it was really funny and rewarding to do that because there's just like some kind of seriousness about it. But then when you look and you're like, oh wow, what a beautiful portrait of some young lady. And then you look at like a dog at her feet and the dog looks completely like, you know, bulging eyes, whatever. So that was kind of funny to look at some of the work through that lens. But I also love like, for me, I really like Mondrian. So I saw a whole bunch of Mondrian works in there, and there was I was hoping to see a Basquiat actually, and this was kind of funny because we saw on the map that they had a Basquiat there, and when we arrived, it was not there anymore. And I know Basquiat was very adamant, like the estate or whatever, for especially like for any kind of NFT related stuff to issue cease and desist or whatever for OpenSea. And it just had me thinking like, wow, did they go so far as to like, because when I asked the collector and the curator like why the work wasn't there, they had no like, they didn't know why it wasn't there, but they didn't know if it was still in their collection either. But I was very curious about this like missing Basquiat from like the major Zurich gallery, because in their floor plan they highlight it as a noteworthy work, which it is. And I've never seen a Basquiat in real life, and I wanted to check that off the list, and that did not happen because it was missing. So maybe another rabbit hole for me. But yeah, lots of cool digital art, lots of good old art we're used to, and lots of art that pisses you off, where it's like 3 lines and a dot, and people are like, why is this important, right? I can do that, or my kid can do that. So I loved the mix of it all, the Monets and the Dalis, and like there was so much there. It was a really good gallery. So it was nice to get that off the list of things I've been to.
And that was in Zurich, right?
Yeah, it's in Zurich. I forget. It's got a very like German name, starts with a K, and it's just the name eludes me right now. I don't remember what the name of it is, but a simple Google of the main art gallery of Zurich will reveal. It's 2 buildings actually across the street, and both have a ton of art in them.
I talked about, I'm probably not going to make it in because it's sneaking up on me. The time is probably more like a next year thing. But I talked about going to the actual Art Basel in Basel, Switzerland, which is, I want to say like, what is it, like an hour or 2 from Zurich? I mean,
yeah, it's not far. I thought about it too. I mean, I was just like there in proximity, and I'm like, wow, this isn't far at all. We stopped over on the train because we took a train from Zurich to Geneva. We actually flew out of Geneva. And that's one of the stops on the train. So I'm like, man, this would be really cool. But I'm considering going to NFC Lisbon in June. Okay. I don't know if anyone else is thinking about it or going, but I haven't been to an event in a really long time because life, cancer, whatever. And I'm like, man, it would be so much fun, I think, to go to that. So I'm thinking about it. I'm warming up to it.
Yeah, so that is June 4th, 5th, and 6th. We've got Bitcoin Vegas in the end of April, end of next month, which there's also Dominion from our friends over at Doma is piggybacks off of Bitcoin Vegas, and Consensus is also early May. So there's a lot, like all these are on my radar. I just probably need to choose one because doing multiple is probably not happening. And now I'm curious when I wanted to say Art Basel in Switzerland is also in June. I will be going to Art Basel Miami for sure, but I would love to do another. I guess I also haven't looked. I assume I think I've maybe seen some headlines, and I assume that flights are up quite a bit. I've not booked here since oil has skyrocketed, but I'm guessing airfare is higher than normal would be my guess. Did you book a while ago, or were you impacted on your recent travels?
I don't think so. Like it was, normal fare. I tried to bid on some upgrades, but I didn't win this time. But I think it's because I had 3 tickets on the bids. They probably just didn't even have enough seats for the 3 of us to upgrade to. But it wasn't. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't noticed that it was super impactful. It was about $400 one, so like maybe $800 per person. I think I want to say. With taxes and everything, flights to Frankfurt from Montreal and back from Geneva to Montreal for us, I think came to 4,000 Canadian. I don't know, whatever that is in American, like 3 something. Yeah, like it was not, and I didn't book it that early. I booked it maybe 2 months ahead, but yeah, I don't know. I fly mainly with Air Canada because of points and upgrades and all that. And generally because I'm leaving, so most of the like long haul international whatever flights are pretty good there. But recently, and maybe I'll share this next time because I'm actually going to duck out in a little bit. I'm trying to score some Muse tickets. The sales are going up pretty soon, the pre-sale, so I want to get in on that. But
a lot of good concerts, a lot of good tours this year. I didn't know Muse was touring. We've talked about Dave Matthews touring. Dave is closing his. Outer and I might be reconvening. Forget crypto conferences. We might be doing a trip to the Gorge. In Washington. His tour this year is ending with a 3-night show at the Gorge. I also saw Weezer is touring. I know we're really leaning into
Wu-Tang Clan is touring. They were just in Switzerland when we left. They played Zurich.
Wow.
But they're coming to Toronto too. Yeah, I don't know, but I really want to see the Muse because
they played in Toronto,
and B, like our kid loves them too because he learns a lot of the bass riffs from their amazing bassists. So I'm super into that. But
that's awesome.
But yeah, I think
pre-sale goes on sale today, huh? Yeah,
this morning. Yeah, so I gotta get geared up for that.
Outer's gonna go vibe
something else, and I don't remember what it was.
Sorry for the interruption.
I don't know. Whatever. Who cares? If it was important, I'd remember it.
Outer's gonna go vibe code a ticket purchasing bot here in the next 30 minutes. So
has nobody done that yet? There must be some kind of.
I'm sure they exist. I have on that topic. You hear so much like, oh, they've got this bot for tickets or sneakers, and I just haven't went down the rabbit hole, so I'm sure they exist. But I'm surprised now that I think about it, I've never seen anyone like shilling their bots. Like why and I guess.
Oh my God, it's my whole timeline.
Really?
Introducing. I'd rather listen. You do not want my timeline. Everyone is shilling every single bot on my timeline.
Interesting.
I remembered what I was going to say, and I'll end with this. So thank you for having me, and I'll be back next week. I recently on Saturday night had a skill exchange with a new friend. And this new friend had no idea how AI works, but she really wanted to build a bunch of like interesting apps. And she, though, is completely in the points game with all the strategic credit cards, with like she's P1, her husband's player 2, like literally just, I had no idea how deep points rabbit hole really is, with like maximizing your return on every single thing that has to do with flying or staying in hotels or traveling. And so for like 2 hours, she shared all of her insights with me. And then for 2 hours, I just showed her how to use Codex to like basically build a really fast app and connect terminal and all that. And her mind was blown at how quickly like something came together that she wanted to make. Just like she was making a very simple, like all the parents want to be the first to sign up for kids programs when they open, very similar to like buying concert tickets. It's just so literally, like I showed her how to make a quick aggregator app that allows you to like sign up for notifications when that stuff opens, and we made it in Codex in like an hour. And her mind was blown, but my mind was blown about like the hierarchy of opening up a specific credit card at a specific tier, then using a referral link to sending it to my P2, which is Divide. Then he would like refer me back, like all this stuff. Just I'm like, wait, what? This is wild. So I'm on a huge, like, I'm going to maximize points and credit cards for my travel journey. So stay tuned as I learn that.
Yeah, I will be following along. I have some friends who are very deep in the points hacking. I think tying this all back together to crypto, it sounds like the Clarity Act is inevitable. It sounds like it's days away from announcement, if not, if potentially sooner. At least that's what X tells me. I think no one's necessarily saying this. It's just a random thought hit me this morning. I have a feeling we could see rewards programs level up, maybe significantly, not just crypto card rewards, but I think if, assuming this passes and you can get yield on stable coins and the big banks don't just strangle us with their monopoly, I think that could trickle down. I think you could see all rewards programs become more aggressive, more beneficial to the user, to the purchaser, due to rewards just leveling up. I think it could be just a much more competitive environment where, yes, there's travel rewards, there's credit card rewards, but for the most part, like retailers don't necessarily have to worry about it. Banks don't necessarily have to worry about it. But I can see that changing. Maybe not gonna happen instantly, but if you can start earning stablecoin rewards and you start seeing more of these neobanks, these crypto cards take off and the crypto rewards be substantial, it's going, I would think, would force the hand of others to level up their reward program. So curious to see what you get out of it. Good luck on getting those tickets. I assume are they playing in Toronto?
Yeah, it's in Toronto this summer. I'm gonna see if I can nab, like, I usually just buy like 5 or 6 if I can. I think 6 is the limit. And we always find friends who last minute are like, yeah, I'll come to that. So we've learned that for like 9 Inch Nails and a bunch of other things where you just don't buy just enough for yourselves, buy a couple more, and friends come out of the woodwork that want to join. So
especially something like that, it's going to sell out. Like even if you don't have any friends that can make it or no friends want to join you, you're almost guaranteed to resell it for more than you bought it for. If you had to go that route. Diabolito says he saw Muse in Argentina open for U2. Such a great concert. Yes, I want to go to the Gorge. It's on my list here in the States. I've been to Red Rocks, huge fan. I want to see more international concerts. That's become a new goal, new mission. Like, how can I incorporate travel into shows like this? In particular, like natural venues, outdoor amphitheaters, that sort of stuff. I'm sure there's also like smaller, cool venues. Like one that is near and dear to me would be like Newport Music Hall in Columbus, Ohio. It's a small, think of like dive bar, but almost every big name who's done anything in music has played there at one point or another during their come up, and just very cool, intimate venue. But I like either the small, intimate venues like that, or give me outdoor amphitheaters, as opposed to, I'm not a big fan of arena shows like at a football stadium or a basketball arena. Just don't quite hit the same for me. But Outer, thank you so much for joining us today. Appreciate you co-hosted. Don't go anywhere. Outer's just got to check out Go Build Her Bot for her ticket scalping here in a bit. But a few other things I wanted to share. GW shared a good post regarding where is Blues Fest, Mayhem. I'm a Connor Price fan. Steve and his wife saw Connor Price in concert, I want to say a year ago. I'm a big Connor Price fan for some reason. I like his music, but also it's royalty free. So I can actually play Connor Price on the show and not worry about a DMCA or getting my account nerfed. Where is Blues Fest? I do like outdoor shows, but where is that? Is that in Canada somewhere? Give me more details. I might target that one. But I do want to talk about Abstract. Saigar's, the General's post. General always longtime Abstract fan and promoter, and looks like he gave some some quality feedback that did well in the timeline. Probably not going to dive deep, but I did see that Whoop. I had that actually, Joey, I kid you not, Joey shared it in the web. I have it pulled up here on a tab as well to hit on if we get, if time permitted today, but probably not going to dive into it today. But Whoop did raise almost 575 million at a $10 billion valuation. Kind of wild to me, guys. I used Whoop for a while. I ended up not renewing it because after several months, I felt like I knew what it was going to report. That said, I'm very long knowing your data, health, and wellness, and I think we're not far away from it connecting to. I have no idea what that noise was. Your primary care practitioner and proactive healthcare as opposed to reactive when we get sick. He said Blues is in Ottawa. The lineup is not amazing. All right. Well, if I'm going to go to Ottawa, I guess July would be a good time to do it. Before, to be determined whether we get back to Whoop and that raise or not. I'm a little shocked at the valuation just because I don't know what they have to justify that. Like, I don't know. Again, I would need to look at their numbers and what. I mean, strong investors. I just don't know their moat. But to which Warp Joe would say there is no moat. I'm just curious. I was a little surprised to see it was such a large valuation. Again, the fear and greed down again. Extreme fear in 11. Catching up with the. I'm a little lagged today on catching up with the chat, but I appreciate all the kind words again. Thank you very much. Let's Thomas. I've seen Eminem once. I saw him at Lollapalooza. It was a great set, but I would love to see I'd love to see him just a solo show. Although like I'm not like a raver type fest, but I do enjoy the festival experience, even for like non-headline bands. The last two concerts I've been to have been in St. Pete. One was on the pier. One was at one was in a park. And while the acts themselves weren't like, oh, I got to go see this band. I enjoy that atmosphere, and people are just so friendly. And one last comment on the whole non-alcoholic wave that is taking over. I think at least this country, there might have been as many, if not more, booths that were serving non-alcoholic drinks, from kava, THC drinks, kratom, functional mushrooms, psychedelic mushrooms, just mocktails, than there was serving beer or liquor. It blew my mind. First I've ever been to an environment like that where there was at least as many, if not more, non-alcoholic drink options as there was alcoholic drink options. And in that case, most of them were some sort of functional beverage. It wasn't just a mocktail, rather it was something on a wide spectrum. I also am curious today how they're able to. I know psychedelics. I have nothing against psychedelics, and I do think it should be the next thing that gets legalized. I don't understand how they're selling this stuff in public like that. I don't. That's a whole nother rabbit hole we won't go down today. But since I mentioned it, it got me thinking. We're going to talk about a mint. We got I mentioned our guy Dort, who's been running about as pure as it gets. We'll hit on that here briefly. Big mint today that could be another cook. Maybe, maybe not. Do your own research as always. But before we do that, I want to give one of our partners some love. It's time for Keeping It Real, brought to you by Doma, our friends over who are creating the Domain 5 vertical. And let me do a proper play in here for Keeping It Real, and we'll get a quick update on rides.com, which dropped last night. And we'll be right back.
Buying domains was slow, Doma changing the game. One bridge, one standard, now the systems move the same. Registrar, stay central, keep the trust and control. DNS and compliance, still they play the key role. Traded on chain, let new markets arise. Domain value unlocked. Welcome to Domain 5.
Keeping It Real, brought to you by Doma, bringing the huge market that is domains on chain, creating this Domain-fi vertical. We talked about Dominion, which is their conference they host. It's out in Vegas the same week as Bitcoin Las Vegas. And today, I don't necessarily have to go too deep because you can see yourself. Doma is the world's first DNS-compliant blockchain, turning premium internet domains into liquid, tradable, real-world assets. Multi-chain, paradigm-backed, and as of midnight last night, rides.com is live on Doma. Here's what you need to know. It is with most token launches, this follows a bonding curve. I'm probably going to go back after the show. I moved over like $50 and bought a couple hundred rides.com tokens this morning before the show. Said it went live last night at midnight. It is, like I said, trading. It's the bonding curve. Once it graduates, then it hits the open market. But for now, if you're interested in picking up any or getting in before before it graduates, it's just you can go to rides.com. It'll direct you there, or go to app.doma.xyz, and you'll see it on the page. Currently, market cap's $47,000. Is this thing going to run to? So FDV is 2 million. Is it going to 100x? I don't know. Probably not. Is it going to 1000x? Probably not. Will it even 10x? Probably not. I don't know. Maybe. But what I feel pretty confident on, anything's possible. I feel pretty confident it's not going to zero. You're getting a fractionalized piece of ownership of rides.com. It is a premium domain that I don't know. Who knows what comes of it? Who becomes the ultimate buyer? Whether it's someone like Uber or Lyft or Waymo or Elon with the Cybercab. Like rides.com is a very premium domain. Especially as more things are going with the Ubers of the world, with this full self-driving. I think a global transportation network powered by one brand like rides.com, pretty powerful. Just part of a $360 billion domain market that today only a small fraction of that is tokenized. Rides.com, one of the first real big premium domains. I mean, I know there's a lot of fans of boner.com and software.ai, but rides.com, one of the first big premium short words that's tokenized, and excited. We had Richard on air with Doma on air last week. It was great to get to connect with Richard. He's going to be one of the keynote speakers at Dominion here in about a month out in Vegas. But go check it out. You can explore. Never any obligation to buy anything. Again, do so with zero financial expectation. It's a new platform. They're building. I'm excited about it. There's a reason we chose to not only enter into a partnership, but a multi-month one, because I think what they're doing is really unique. They're bringing real value. They're enhancing something, again, a $360 billion market, and they're making it better by bringing it on chain. They're unlocking additional functionality and utility by bringing it on chain, and excited to follow along. You see, I got just currently 211 tokens of rides.com. It started at an FDV of 200,000. It's already up to 217,000. Bonding FDV based on the current FDV based on the bonding curve is 225,000. And then the floor FDV, the minimum FDV backed by the bonding curve would be 2 million. Understand what it is, understand, how the platform works. We've had the team on here previously to talk about, and I have the pleasure of hosting Doma on air with the leadership team every other week. You can go to Doma Protocol as their handle. I'll share that up top here in a second if you're curious to learning more. But again, no obligations, no expectations. But who knows if there is a world where domains on chain, tokenized domains, really take off. In that world, I think rides.com, being one of the early ones as far as premium domains go, I think could be a winner. And as I mentioned, I'm chasing asymmetrical upside here with many of my. If it's a trade or a short-term bet, it's not just DCAing Bitcoin or ETH. This one checks a lot of boxes for me. So they are a sponsor. The segment is a paid segment. However, I have no obligation to purchase any domains, to do it like that. I'm doing it because I actually truly do believe in the platform and what they're building, and I think it could be one that we're swinging for the fences, putting a little at risk. So I invested $50 as of now. I'm planning to bridge some more over after the show, and we'll acquire some more. But I'm I'm excited about it. And on topically, Thomas says, speaking of rides, I was talking with Grok yesterday about how, what, why, and the pros and cons of switching to a Tesla, figuring out money saving strategies and more. Every time I see gas or someone talk about gas, I think of the Twilight meme. I got to pull it up, so I'm doing it justice. I think of this. Every time I see gas at 4:30, which I saw this morning, this is the meme. I think of how myself and all electronic car drivers are viewing the current gas. I kid, it's a joke. I'm not rubbing it in for anyone who's feeling the pain at the pump, but and I would say not only are you going to save on gas by switching to an electric car, full self-driving's, it's wild, man. It is truly a game changer. I just saw recently there's a report where I think they're averaging like 6.5 million miles between accidents, whereas human drivers are like 600,000 miles between accidents. So significantly magnitude safer. And I, for one, am looking forward to the day where the majority, if not all cars on the road are powered by a robot, not a human who can be distracted. And I saw a comedian recently did a skit on, a lot of people are hesitant and unsure of turning over their car to a robot. And he likened it to like, imagine like, you go to the grocery store and instead of a robot controlling the automated doors, you got two people on each side of the door, and one of them's distracted and texting on their phone. The other one's, they just smoked a joint, and they're the ones that are opening and closing the door for you. And he's like, yeah, it may not be seen like a big a deal going into a grocery store, but imagine you're driving, because that's, most people are distracted when they're driving, if not inebriated. But anyways, digressing a little bit into full self-driving and electric cars, but blame Thomas. If you're disappointed in that. All that being said, we got about 15 minutes left. These two things I want to hit on at least. And if there's any other thoughts, comments, questions, any other topics we missed today, drop those in the chat, or feel free to throw a request in to join us here on stage. And, Thomas, does say, to be fair, would have only stopped once or twice, maybe do a full charge, so about $30 a week to charge. Yeah. And always be charging. I just plug in when I'm at home, and rarely do I ever even have to stop in and charge. Now it's much slower. I just have the regular wall charger, so it's much slower than a supercharger. But I rarely even have to stop at a charger anymore. It just keeps it charged. And yeah, certainly on a long road trip, but I don't even mind it. Like, it's the superchargers are really fast. Like, it's really not as bad as I thought I'd have, like, charging anxiety on when I took a road trip, and don't even think about it. It's not inconvenient at all, and not only more affordable than gas under the current oil situation, just much safer. Bouvet, go ahead, get in here, and then we'll hit on this FTX refund and this potential cook today.
Okay, yeah, when you were talking markets, this is how I was looking at it, because it was exactly this space like 2 or 3 weeks ago. Remember, I was here and I was like, okay, like S&P 500, it's making like higher highs or higher lows, but the NASDAQ is like dipping, so there's something wrong with that. And then so now, like, we saw that happen, because S&P 500, like, there was like a 6,500 level was like a key level. Now there is a weekly close below it, and that's important, because if you look at the BTC Gold and the BTC S&P 500 charts, BTC is showing weakness against that, right? And so, but it is, for BTC dominance, it's dominating against the alts. So basically, like, BTC is, like, crypto-wise, it's like his still dominance high, but compared to like gold and S&P 500, it's going lower. And if you look at the seasonality, if you just simply search Bitcoin seasonality, like on CoinGlass, you will see that this Q1 in these midterm election years, you can see 2026 now at negative 31%. 2022 was about 10%. 2018 was about 46%. And in one of those years, it followed crazy, right? In two of them, it went up like 15%. And then in 2018 and in 22 it went even lower. The Q2 was like minus 67%. So I think now this, after today's March candle close, it's gonna be like this April is gonna be a very important month of like what's gonna happen. It's gonna, and of course we have these oil prices, but oil prices, you know, usually don't stay up this long. I'm not sure in this case if it will or not, but usually in those instances it like goes up and down, and nobody really wants higher oil prices because of course they gonna increase inflation, right? Transportation costs, and then the products go up, and then the oil prices fall and the products don't get their price lowered. And so I don't think it's like in the best interest of the countries, but we can't, you know, guess like what's happening in those global markets. So that's like a key thing. But one thing we do know is when oil prices do go up like this, there is a shift in the economy. So it can be signaling like a slowdown or a recession. It's usually after every time something happened like this, it was first oil prices going up first. And then the only scenario I know where it didn't happen like that was in 2020, where like the oil price went negative and stuff, you know, and that was like a crazy. Gold was going up, but then oil was going down. You know, it went even to $10, and then like the derivatives got into negative territory, and then but that was the only case from like the 6 other cases where it went up. So April's gonna be a crazy month, Captain.
Yeah, it is crazy, and I think all the historical stuff matters. At the same time, this just feels like there's so many other variables right now beyond just, I mean, things were uncertain before the conflict in Iran broke out. You add that into it, and now the oil pricing, like it's just a lot of unknown, a lot of uncertainty, and I don't know. I remain very optimistic long term, very bullish long term. Nothing changes the thesis, but in the short term, meaning like the next 1 to 4 or 5 months, I really just don't know. I don't have a good read on which direction we may go, other than I think, like I said earlier, I think volatility is the one thing I feel confident in. Before we get out of here, 2 things real quick. I mentioned, I pinned it up top, actually, the General's post that he shared. I'm going to give General, longtime friend, fan of the show here, give some love on his post. He says, Saigar, you built something special with abstract consumer crypto done right. Massive respect for everything you've accomplished so far. But the heavy pivot to transaction farming and gambling games is pushing away your core supporters. Luca's original vision was NFT communities plus creators driving real on-chain demand with cool products equals massive success. That's what made us believe. Streamers and NFT communities have carried this ecosystem. It's time to refocus on what matters. Right now, there's no strong reason to hold anything, to include Pingu, when the vision feels off track. Switch back to the roots and watch Abstract absolutely thrive. We're still rooting for you. Let's get this right together. This isn't about a me thing, but yeah, I feel similar. Like I hold more NFTs probably than I ever have before on Abstract. Granted, some of those are Zeek cards. I still hold Pingu, not millions of Pingu. I have at least one of the Pingu bonuses, if not 2 levels. And last 2 weeks, I've gotten 32 and 67 XP, despite streaming every day, including at least one of those streams. I think was the largest stream on Abstract year to date. And it's just it's getting zero. It's getting zero. I mean, not zero, but going from 5,000-ish XP per week to 32 or 67. It's I don't want to say I'm disenfranchised. It's not that deep. I don't really care because I'm not really I'm not vested, other than like I do stream there. We've streamed there every day for well over a year now. But it's not at the expense. It's not exclusive. It doesn't prevent us from streaming on YouTube or X. So it's like, it's an extra button I got to click. And I do love the chat. Our Abstract community it's awesome. Like our Abstract community is great. Like it's one of the most vibrant. There's days go by, we get more comments and chat in the Abstract chat than we do here on X. And we'll get, there's 44 comments today with X being broken. Usually that'll run, 100 or more, but we have that many in the Abstract chat. Appreciate all the big tippers over there. And it's a great, vibrant community. By the way, Jamber says St. Pete Brewing has THC drinks available. yeah, a lot of those the concert I was alluding to was in St. Pete, so maybe just THC psychedelic drink friendly, I guess. I enjoy abstract chat, the abstract stream. I'm grateful for our abstract community. I just not for even my personal XP. Like I said, I don't really care. I'm kind of locked into gold tier 1 at this point. I just think it'd be good for the business. It'd be good for the chain. Like it's something that's unique to them. Why not lean into it? Why not support it more? Why not drive more streamers like initially was discussed? Maybe they just decided it's too much of a cost center and they're trying to drive away streamers. I don't know, but would love to see him take some of the general's suggestions and run with it. The other, well, let's do this. FTX, and then we'll wrap with the mint I was alluding to. 2.2 billion is going out in refunds. It starts today. It looks like it could take a day, 2 or 3 for those funds to actually hit. I'm curious if anyone in the chat, if you have FTX refunds coming. I was not on FTX. Fortunately did not get hit or burnt by that. But obviously a lot of people in crypto did. And after it's all said and done, while yes, theoretically they'll be made whole, or some even more than made whole, it's also like the time lost, years of not having access to your funds, and depending on what you were holding in there, the underlying token price could be way up, it could be down. Yeah, I don't know what else to think about it. It is going live today. I'm curious if we see of that 2.2 billion, if we see much, if any of it, find its way into the trenches. If we see, they just go buy Bitcoin with it. Do they, I don't know where it goes, but I am interested and curious to see if we even notice an impact. I know 2.2 billion is not, I mean, that's like an average Tuesday now in terms of crypto liquidations, I feel like, but could be an impact there. If it ends up, if there's some narrative that pops, if there ends up being some big push into a particular asset, if it's spread across all crypto assets, probably a drop in the bucket. But for instance, and I don't hold any Zcash. I'm not a Zcash bull, but if we see all the OG Bitcoiners start pumping Zcash again, and we see a bunch of the 2.2 billion rotate into Zcash, that could be enough to move the needle there. Just as an example, I'm not saying that's what happens, but be interested to see if any new narratives emerge here. Crypto Grit, looks like we're having trouble connecting, but did say improvements are coming to streaming. For everybody getting connected here, would love to hear what those may be. Honeybee, I saw you popped up. I'm getting ready to hit on Ape Church. Is that get the Gimbos, man? Is that what brought you up, or something else on your mind this morning? GM.
Top of the morning. Church will be opening very soon. In approximately 4 hours, the mint will begin. And if you don't know what the church is, let me educate you just so slightly.
Appreciate
the church is for those who believe in chance, those who believe in winning or losing, but still take the risk every single day. So if that's you, the church welcomes you. We'll see you soon.
Awesome. I've got this, I pinned up the post up top. I've got to put up here the guaranteed list kicks off in 4 hours. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Public list goes live in 7 hours. I know I heard there was a lot of communities allow listed. I thought Bored Ape Yacht Club having that shadow token gets me.
Yeah, you got yeah.
So mine is showing it's not. Mine is, like, and I connect with my hot wallet that's got a shadow in there, and it's just showing public mint. It didn't flip over to allow list or the guaranteed pricing. Am I doing something wrong? Is there, I'd love to mint. I'd love to get in before public, mainly not only get the early access, but I've got senior night tonight at lacrosse. Hard to believe that. But I've got not only a lacrosse game at 5, I actually got to get there a little early and do the senior night festivities. And so I will be present and not able to mint. So I would love to get a mint in earlier this afternoon. What can I do? Any ideas or suggestions to get eligible with the assets I do hold in that wallet?
Let me double check, because they're using the Shadows tech to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So you should be good. But I'll double check right now. I'll ask the dev.
Appreciate it. Yeah, I can. If you need my wallet, I'll send it over. But yeah, I've got the. Unless something, I mean, the asset's not moved and the shadow.
Wait, what position do you play on lacrosse?
Oh, I don't play. My daughter plays. My daughter's a senior in high
Okay.
school. Yeah. She's a forward and midfielder at times, but big. They've been running pretty good. Pretty exciting year for them. This is their last home game in the regular season, and they got one more game later this week, and then onto the playoffs. And I hope they can run deep this year. The team has been. This is their best year they've had since she's been in school, and while they're having a good year this year, I'm on it. Oh, I took a trip to another country. That wouldn't, like, VPN wouldn't have any impact on my allow list, would it?
No. It should be the wallet where your shadow is.
That's funny. Yeah, I said senior in lacrosse. You're thinking like old people playing lacrosse. No, my daughter is a senior in high school.
I was like, damn, bro. I'm like, you got the cardio. Let's go.
I would qualify for a senior lacrosse league if there was such a thing, but
are you like 40 or something?
yeah,
You're
a little older than that, unfortunately. But I don't feel it. I still feel in my mid 20s, maybe even young 20s, early 20s.
If I was Honey B, I would just give the space hosts GTD because all they do is talk about Kimbo's mint recently. So,
brother, I have like 500 DMs where everyone and their mother asking me for it. Like, if Machiavelli, who works with me, is like, yo, can you give me 10 more GTDs? And I'm like, bro, please.
we talking about Captain, man. Is he the 500 people?
No, I'm not looking for any special treatment. I just, if I am eligible and it's something I've done wrong, I would like to mint. I'd like to support. I just now.
No, you should be good. You should be good. I'll check right now. Send me your wallet, and then
I'll give you my spot too, Captain, because I'll be sleeping in Asia time. It's like 2-3 a.m. So
I appreciate that. Again, no obligations. Again, truly not looking for any special treatment. Just would like to mint, and if I am going to mint, I need to mint prior to 5. Otherwise, I'm going to be. I think this thing, even if it makes public, I do expect it to. I expect it to sell out pretty quickly. It seems like a lot of motion, and it's a smaller supply. What do I see? 4,400. Is that right?
Yeah, and then 1,000 is going into the treasury for what's it called, for the team, for marketing and all this stuff, and guaranteed in those 1,000 we don't get any 1-on-1s, right? So it's a higher chance for everyone else to get a 1-on-1.
Very cool. And Honeybee's not saying this. If there's anything you'd like to add, you're more than welcome. But I hear augments, consumables, collateral, wearable, other side avatar, VIP perks are utilities that are being hinted at, including being 3D rigged by Ryda and his team for other side. Anything you would like to confirm or deny, or any things to mention about why someone might be interested in minting this?
Will confirm everything. Yes, they will be literally avatar ready. They're all rigged up. They're all good to go, and they will be on the other side basically like immediately.
Awesome, man. Excited to see. We should get. Appreciate you jumping up today. Impromptu. Best of luck with everything today, and maybe later this week have you back on to do a deeper dive on what, why, how, when. A little more about Ape Church would be great. I just DM'd you that hot wallet with the shadow. Let me know if there's potentially something I think once the shadows are set up, it just sticks. Maybe something fell off. Maybe I need to go back and can reconnect something on my end. And like I said, truly not looking for any special treatment. Just if I broke something, I'd like to know. And maybe maybe I can troubleshoot something along the way. But thank you very much for popping up, and appreciate the help getting me guaranteed to mint. Crypto Grit GM, appreciate you jumping up. I hear there's some updates coming to streaming on Abstract soon. Anything you're able to share?
GM. Yeah, nothing is official. Thank you for having me, by the way, on the space. I just realized that they're heavily aware that they kind of have to do something in terms of streaming and improvements. I potentially heard some stuff. So the one thing that I can say is improvements are coming, and I even pointed out your case, what happened to you that you get 80 XP, which is kind of crazy, because you're probably one of the biggest voices there, right? In terms of following, and you're spreading the word out of the ecosystem as well, which is in many cases it's kind of not the case, right? I know they're aware and they're like trying. You know, there is always one problem that a lot of like people are kind of botting stuff, you know, and you never know. Like if you just like design some basic mechanism that would reward people that stream there, like people could like game the system, you know.
And I get that. I do truly get that. I totally get where they're coming from. And just saying, "Oh, I'm a streamer. I should get." I get how challenging it can be because it's one of the easier things to bot and or like. So I don't remember who it was. Someone was Jesus called out someone yesterday that's was just looping the same stream 24/7 and racking up streams, racking up views, and they weren't doing anything. And they weren't adding any value. It's just they just trying to basically game the XP by. I mean, at this point, probably other things you could do to game the XP better than stream, but. I get how challenging what both you could just put something on loop, you can bot the chat, like very difficult to fully automate. And I fully can understand the challenges that they might be dealing with there. But you know, selfishly speaking, yeah, I would love to would love that they put it not just for me, but I truly do think it'd be good for the platform itself to lean into something that's a differentiating factor for them. By the way, rewards do drop in about an hour and 54 minutes. Those hit about noon Eastern on Tuesday for the abstractors out there. Go ahead, Crypto Crit.
Yeah, this is the thing, you know, that I realize they wanna like do this prevention before they actually allocate more XP or rewards or whatever, you know. So it is the thing they're trying to solve before they do improvements, but I know that improvements are coming, you know.
Cool.
Because like there are multiple like people that are like well known there that are streamers as well, right? And everybody's pushing for this, you know. So I expect improvement soon, you know. And you know, I'm honestly happy that they approach it in a way that they wanna, you know, like they wanna address these people, as you said, you know, that are looping the stream or doing this stuff, you know, because it doesn't add value, right? And like you wanna give people opportunity that are watching the streamers, you know. Somebody might be focused on like watching like some fun, somebody is focused on markets, a different type of education, you know, somebody's looking for the gameplay, right? And like obviously like it's also difficult, you know, because it's always like everybody's like, oh, I should be a giga chat, right? So it will be similar thing with the streaming if they develop like tier systems, so they're trying to find solution to make everyone happy in the end, you know. And I spoke with few people that were very transparent about this, so I like it, you know, and I'm waiting for this to come as well. Just wanted to hop on the stage to say this.
Awesome, man. Appreciate you jumping up. Thanks for sharing. And yeah, we'll be paying attention. Fingers crossed. I'm not going to hold my breath that we get a big XP reward at noon today, but hopefully it's at least better than 67 from last week. That's it. Really enjoyed the show today. Appreciate everyone who shared this morning. Salute to everyone who's on their own journey, whether it's you cut booze or food or gambling, coffee, you know, anything that might be a challenge or something that you're looking to improve upon your health and well-being. Really do appreciate everyone who shared, and appreciate everyone who listened and who showed up for myself and many others today. Greatly appreciate it. As we get you out of here, don't forget to go check out that mint at on Ape Church kicks off here this afternoon. A few different phases there. Also, rides.com is live on Doma. That's doma.xyz. Head to awaken.tax, use code coffee50 or return coffee50 to save $50. And a non-sponsored shill, although I guess I did get 4 free bags of coffee out of it, but there was no expectations. Cody, who's the owner and founder of Nordic Joe's Coffee, did not ask me to shill. I actually did have, this is what I had this morning. It's the blueberry cinnamon swirl. I'm not usually a flavored coffee fan. I'll just drink my coffee black. And if I ever put any even sugar in there, it's I'll break the no sugar rule for a Cuban colada. But the blueberry cinnamon swirl, surprisingly good. I would buy beyond just the free bag of coffee that he sent me. But yeah, go check out Nordic Joe's. It's just Nordic JO or JOS maybe is the actual domain. Cody, active member in the space, a great one out there, and just sent me some coffee because we host a coffee show. So I'm happy to share good coffee when shared with me. But again, I'm under no obligation to do so. I am under obligation to talk a little bit about Awaken Tax and DOMA. So those are my full disclosures today. And I do hold now 211 tokens of rides.com. That said, enjoyed the show today. Appreciate y'all being here. We'll be back tomorrow at 8 a.m. Eastern time, as always. Hopefully we get a nice dub tonight to celebrate senior day. A nice goal for my daughter would be great. And time is flying. I can't believe lacrosse season's nearing an end. Senior year is nearing an end. I just actually logged in yesterday to her, had to pay for an AP test and realized that I only have 2 tuition payments left. And while nice to have that fall off, decent monthly expense gets freed up. I'll probably shift that into something in this space. Maybe it funds my best ball drafts for the rest of the year. Who knows? But it was like a bittersweet moment. Like, oh, I'm going to be, an extra X amount of money. That's not, reducing the expenses going forward here very soon. But sad at the same time that can't believe high school is only 2 tuition payments left. And thankfully, fortunately, my daughter did well in school and was able to secure basically her, long story short, her college is going to cost far less than what high school did, and middle school for that matter. But she's got some, some grants and some scholarships to offset the majority of college tuition, if not all. Just going to be paying for some room and board. And I'm grateful we found the school she did, but it was not free. So anyways, I digress, but bittersweet as the high school tuition payments coming to an end, meaning high school itself coming to an end. It goes fast and everyone says it, but time goes exponentially faster when you have kiddos that are growing up. With that, thanks again for being here today. Appreciate you all. Yes, Diablito, the nothing like a blueberry cinnamon shill to end the show today. Drink blueberry cinnamon coffee instead of booze. That's the alpha. I kid, but serious. Thank you all for being here. We'll be back tomorrow. Have a wonderful, wonderful day, everyone.